The flow of action and reaction is lumpy, sometimes quiescence, then a surge of positive acceleration, and so after those years, the worldwide tidal wave began to recede. That grand and portentous moment slipped away. No one nor any group can claim credit for its flowering. No one nor any group is particularly at fault for the sharp decline in mass militant activism. Maybe it wasn't time yet. Maybe we collectively weren't ready yet. Certainly, in my view, by Kent State, the militant spirit was evaporating from mass movements. The great flood of liberal and radical resistance pretty much disappeared. Below the surface of social life, now only coming sporadically and episodically to the surface. But organizing still went on. The numbers reduced perhaps, but the message is clear as ever. The Greens, the anti-nuke movement, the environmental movement, the co-ops, the daycare centers, the World Trade Organization, demonstrations, and now the re-emerging of SDS on campuses. That's a good thing. To the new and to those of us who came before, and in my case, before, who still work for peace and justice, I say, be patient, be strong, it will come. It will surely come again. Mass participation, militant activism, sustained, reaching into each community oppressed by the worldwide so-called free market economy. And in case we need to remind ourselves, no pundit in 1959 sensed what was coming in the 60s. Not one. Right. The 60s were a surprise, and be sure that the babbling heads and the political pundits will be surprised when activism again accelerates here at the center and at the imperial outposts. Some complex calculus is at work. Needs are growing. Religious fundamentalism promises paradise in the hereafter, but how long can that illusion confound the reality of misery? People be ready to believe in the illusions? How long will they hold still when here at the center of empire, the top 1% earn more than the bottom 50%? That means the top 300,000 people earn more than the bottom 150 million people. Something's wrong. Last year, 400 Americans increased their income by $290 billion. Each. $290 billion each, for a total of $1.54 trillion. That was their raise last year. We have the highest rate of child poverty of any major country. Something's wrong. Since Bush took office, 8.6 million people have lost their health care, 3 million people have lost manufacturing jobs, and another 3 million lost their pensions. And all the while, the Iraq war costs $2 billion per week. Something's wrong. While on the periphery, things are even more grim. Half the world, nearly 3 billion people, live on less than $2 a day. And the gross domestic product of the poorest 400 nations is less than the wealth of the richest 3 people in the world. The poorest 48 nations, the richest 3 people. Something's wrong. Nearly 1 billion people entered the 21st century unable to read a book or sign their names. 1 billion children live in poverty. That's 1 out of every 2 children in the world. 10.6 million children died in 2003 before they reached the age of 5. That's roughly 29,000 children a day. Today that we've been here, 29,000 children have died because of poverty, malnutrition, and disease. That didn't have to die. Something's wrong. However, we cannot float on the tide of terrible statistics with knowledge or forethought of the coming activism or of our eventual victory. Global warming and the other manifestations of the accelerating excesses of free market commodity production force us to hurry up. Because those who came before made their struggle on a land that would outlast their defeats. We do not have that luxury. Let me talk personally for a moment, and Bill, this is going to make the world spin around a little bit, okay?
Sorry.
All right. I was in 1966 a liberal professor. Ugh. I thought our war in Vietnam was a terrible mistake made by an otherwise generally benevolent government. I was, after all, a Roosevelt baby. I thought we could explain the mistake to them, right? Explain the incomprehensibly inexcusable war We used to take out ads in the New York Times, right? We, the professors, want to explain to you that you've made a mistake, right? Imperialism is a mistake, right? You know, you made a big boo-boo, and so please say you're sorry and get out. That's what I did with my time. You know, put ads together like that. And money it took to do that. So, I turned the page. One day, I heard that there would be a party in Ann Arbor for some people who had sat in the draft board and actually had spent 2 weeks in jail. I went to the party, and I met Bill Ayers and Diana Houghton, and my life was changed forever.
That's great.
You son of a gun. I told many people that I was born on that night. I saw, how can I say it? I saw, it sounds sappy. I had met some people who were different, who were committed to the struggle. They're transcending, they're going beyond. I don't think I could have said all that then, but I was a professor no more. Boom. I was forever after a teacher. I was a signer of petitions no more. I was an organizer. And soon, after many confrontations with the administration of mental straitjackets here, I was let go. The headline said one morning, Garskof put on full-time research. The dream of most people in my department. If they could have gotten that, they'd have probably been demonstrating alongside me, right? And I was offered a terminal contract, which, you know, the terminal whatever is no good. And then a lot of things happened. I did a lot of things and went a lot of places. And then I was living in D.C. and I got an anonymous phone call about an explosion in the village. And the voice said, Bill is all right, Dan is dead. Along the way, I met Bernadine. Make no mistake, she's a light, a beacon, and a messenger of clear thinking and sound theory and practice. I'm so glad I know her and Bill and that they could be here tonight. Thank you. I'd like to separate now two kinds of change that I've so far mixed together. Action to ask the current system to do better, reformism. Action to destroy the old system and create an entirely new and different worldwide order, revolution. These two very different projects were and continue to be embodied in our desire for a better world, in our organizations and in our activism. We are asking them to end the war in Iraq. We're asking them not to go to war on Iran. We're asking them to provide universal health care, to grant us civil rights we thought they had already given us. Will they heed us? End the cruel, mindless, and windless war against the Iraqi people. Well, Republicans sing melody and Democrats harmonize.